This is Walter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
Metcalf from
Hey, Burleson, you're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on another Wednesday, another day for the NorbCam Roundtable. I am so excited to talk about so many things this week. I don't know. I was just talking with Brian off the air. It seems like that's our first loss of the year, and it seems like there's a heck of a lot more to talk about when you lose than necessarily when you win. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just panic mode here. But I can't wait to talk to these guys and have them settle my nerves because I'm a little agitated. I'm a little agitated about the situation. It's only been one game. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. But there's a lot of panic in the air. There's been a lot of stuff happening. And either way, we're going to get into it for the next 90 minutes or so. And yes, there will be a trivia contest put together by yours truly from scratch. Noah Boelter, you're going to have to figure out the numbers game. But before we get to the panel, real quickly, just a reminder, everybody, I would love if you guys would hit that like button, subscribe, like, comment, share, hit the notification bell. I'm trying to get to that elusive 50,000 mark on subs, but you guys can help me get there. But for now, let's get to it right here. It is the NorbCam Roundtable, and we are missing one of our compadres today. Seahawks Martin is over there catching flying fish at the Pike Place Market, so we'll miss Martin. But we've got the other three musketeers. Starting at the top, we got Brian Abker. Welcome back, Brian. Always good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys. Good to be here.
All right, going clockwise, we got Steezy A. Smith on the bottom right. Steezy, good to see you, brother. Looking good, by the way. I think this is the first time I've ever seen you wear a dress shirt on a show. This could be a record. You're looking good, though, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother. All I got to say is get used to it because shout out Noah.
I was going to say, following in the footsteps of the man who started something about a sharp-dressed man, the sharp-dressed man starting the trend, Squabo, to my left, right here. Welcome back to the round table, brother. It's always good to see you, man. And let's see the tie. I can't see the tie on camera. Can you raise up so I can see what color you got today?
Nice.
Oh, you got a nice little blue with a little silver, and I don't know, is there some black mixed in as well? It's looking good. It's looking good. Not very Wazoo or UW-like, but it's nice. I like it. Okay.
You know, I tried to wear this on my show yesterday, but it was a little bit too close to the green screen, so I decided to pull it out here.
Nice.
Okay.
Looks good.
Gotcha. All right. So everybody, for those of you who are watching, feel free to blow up the chat. Super chats are always recommended because it's great support for one thing, but secondly, it allows me to catch your filter through the noise because there's so many comments flying by. But let's talk about the elephant in the room right now. Sunday Night Football. We were all feeling the pain of the overtime loss against the Cardinals, 37-34. I think I want to just start going around the room with I always like to do this, just that quick bird's eye view. Answer this question, guys. What went wrong? Why did we lose that game? I'm going to start with the biggest cheerleader who told me we had nothing to worry about. Guy at the top of the screen with the nice Seahawks beanie, which I, by the way, think your beanie looks fantastic. I don't care what anybody else says.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to start with you, man, because you, of anybody in this group, probably was the most optimistic that we were going to get a win, and that didn't happen. So before I go to you, though, I got to shout out IB Dave Jones in the Super Chat. Thanks for the support. So, Brian, start it off, man. What's up, man? What do you have to say for yourself?
Yeah, for sure. No, listen, I was extremely confident. If we went back and played that game again, same players on the field, I would say the same thing I did last time. I fully expected us to go in there and have a win and have it not be requiring too much effort. And here's the thing. We had a 2-score lead for the majority of the game. We had that game. The problem is that when you let Russ cook, as you guys like to use that expression, and he happens to have one of his very, very rare off games, 3 interceptions, this defense is not equipped to handle that type of turnover ratio. That's the bottom line. Who would expect that Russell would have 3 picks? I wouldn't expect that he's going to have 3 picks in a game for the rest of the season. I doubt that he even has multiple picks in a game for the rest of the season. So that was the rare entity. That loss hurts because we got the good fortune of seeing that field goal be missed. Everybody was on their hands and knees and they were praying and they got their wish from the football gods. and we weren't able to capitalize. DK scored that touchdown, and a penalty messed us up. There were a couple crucial penalties in that game that turned the momentum of the game that were garbage calls. So it was a conglomeration of several different events that led to that loss, and they were all, in my opinion, one-off situations that you probably won't see again together in a game.
Oh, I can't disagree with you. That is very true. Let's go to Calvin, the other positive cheerleader, saying that we weren't going to have to worry about anything. So in the white dress shirt, Calvin, with sporting a new look, hopefully sporting some new positive mojo towards the Seahawks direction. What can you add to this conversation? What was the undoing of the Seahawks against Arizona Sunday night?
I mean, I'm kind of with Brian. It was ourselves. You look at Russ's 3 picks. He had 3 picks the entire season, and he had 3 picks in just this one game. You look at David Moore. I guess he kind of had a mental lapse and forgot how to run block. Supposed to block on the inside, not on the outside. You look at that penalty on Benson Mayowa, the leverage penalty. It was a 4th and 12, and we were up by 10 with a couple minutes to go. On 4th and 12, they kicked the field goal, get the field goal. So the score is now 34-27. But, oh, wait, Benson Mayowa had a 15-yard penalty. So instead of the 3 points that they got a 1st and goal, ended up scoring a touchdown. And the rest is history. Brian, once again, hit on all the points. Our defense isn't well equipped to handle mistakes from either special teams or the offense. And on a night where Russell Wilson finally looked ordinary, we just weren't able to come up with enough stops. You could look at some of the missed calls. You could look at all that, but you can also look at the fact that Kyler Murray had 48 dropbacks and we had 1 pressure, no sacks. That's a no-no. Obviously, I mean, the pass rush has been an issue all season long, but to go up against a mobile quarterback like Kyler Murray, I mean, he had a clean pocket literally the whole game. And so on top of ourselves kind of losing the game, I think that just the lack of a pass rush on defense. We had a few injuries. Shaquille Griffin got knocked out of the game with a concussion. Obviously, Jamal Adams wasn't there. I feel like if Jamal was there, he would have been the difference in the game not going to overtime. But I think overall, it was a combination of our own selves plus the lack of a pass rush. That's kind of what did us in. But I'm still confident as ever in the Seahawks. I doubt that Russell Wilson has another 3-interception game. I think that Jamal Adams is coming back. We have a whole lot of reinforcements to get to in a little bit, but I'm still pretty optimistic about the rest of the season.
I hope so, because we got a ways to go, and we're just starting this gauntlet of tough games coming up here. So, Noah, how about you, man? What's your take? What's your explanation? Can you add anything else as to what happened regarding the Seahawks and that loss to the Cardinals?
I mean, Calvin talked, or Steezy talked about the penalties, 8 for 78 yards. There were a couple that I disagreed with, but we got to control the things that we can control, and there were plenty of things within that game that we could have controlled and dictated to go otherwise. That typically we do that. In this specific game, we did not. We've seen a couple late-game collapses by Russell Wilson in recent divisional road games that go to overtime. I'm talking about the Niner game last year where he threw the interception, and then obviously this year the interception in overtime. But the difference is last year we were able to make the plays and come up with the victory. This year we were unable to come up with a victory. The difference between this game and the rest of the games earlier on this season was we weren't able to come up with a victory. And because of that, I actually think it's a good thing for Seattle. Heading into this stretch, this is the most important stretch of our season. We're going to play versus the San Francisco 49ers, at Buffalo, at the Los Angeles Rams. Very, very difficult stretch against very, very good teams. And because of this loss at the beginning of the stretch, I think it's going to benefit us and allow us to self-reflect. It led to the Carlos Dunlap trade that we're going to get into here shortly. It's going to create that level of urgency in Seattle that maybe we haven't had because we've been in really close games against teams that are really bad like Minnesota, but we've been able to pull it out with our magicians that Russell Wilson brings to the table every week. So Russell Wilson made a couple of mistakes, a lot of mistakes. I don't ever want to see him throwing lob passes on underneath routes anymore, please. Can we just bullet it in there, because that's when the passes are getting where they belong. And DJ Dallas needs to learn the damn playbook. He needs to understand how to block when he goes into the game. We need more players that when they come into the game at the positions, know their assignments, because Russell Wilson had a couple of drives taken away from him just like that. So a lot of self-inflicted wounds we'll get into a little bit deeper, but it's all within our control, and this should be a good awakening for Seattle.
For sure. Quick acknowledgement. I guess ME in the super chat had contributed earlier. I didn't see it, but since you said you did, I appreciate your support. Quick clarification. When it comes to, because I've had some arguments with some people about the leverage play on Mayoa that you brought up, Calvin. That was such a huge play right there. But some people are saying, disagreeing about that rule. Isn't it correct that leverage or no leverage, you cannot jump over the line, period? Even if you clear the line and not touch anybody. Did they outlaw jumping over the line? I thought they did that ever since that last year when Bobby did it against those Cardinals in that tie. That was the last year I think they were allowed to do it. Am I not correct there? That they outlawed jumping over the line? I'm pretty sure they did.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Didn't it start when Cam Chancellor started doing it against the Panthers when he did it in 2 consecutive plays?
Yeah,
in that
he
one
did.
playoff
Well,
game?
that was the first. Yeah, he did it, and then Bobby Wagner did it against the Cardinals, and I believe it was the year after that they made that play totally illegal. So. I mean, they call it leverage, but I think you still can't do it. You cannot run over and jump over the pile, even if you clear it. Right, Brian?
Well, that's it. You can't have a running start. You can jump over the line, but you can't use leverage, and you can't get a running start.
Yeah, which it's pretty much impossible if you don't have a running start.
Well, if you've seen a guy like DK Metcalf and his hops, he could spring right over somebody if they put him in to try to block kicks, which
it's true,
would
but
be
that's
actually a pretty decent move.
That would be interesting. Yeah, put him just in the middle and just with that 6'4" frame, use that 40-inch vertical or whatever he's got to do that. But that's just a strategy for another time. So for me, what I agree with all the points you guys said, and I think there's probably 20, 25, 30 points where you could say if one play goes a different direction, the result is a Seahawks win. And you guys brought up a bunch of them. I think I agree mostly with the main overarching point, which was what you said, Brian, is that I've felt all along, and if you look at the records of the teams we've beaten, it is kind of sad to see that the best record by those first 5 teams is 500, and that's the Dolphins at 3-3. Every team after that is either 2-4 Dallas, 2-4 Patriots, 1-5 Minnesota, and 1-5 Atlanta. So to say, have we just not beaten anybody? Maybe so, but I still agree with that point that had Russell not played at that MVP perfect level in any of those games, and had a game like this where he throws maybe 1 or 2 picks or just isn't perfect, where he's just dialing in bombs and hitting perfect throws at perfect times, we probably win a couple or lose a couple of those games. So we've had to rely on Wilson to be perfect, and he wasn't perfect. And like you said, the defense is not equipped to recover from that, which we're going to talk about the defense in just a second. But I do want to ask you guys, because there were so many points in the game that you could say the David Moore block would have scored a DK or the Mayoa penalty. If you had to pick one, what of those many plays was the most pivotal turning point where it would have been like, okay, Seattle wins if this was the turning point that totally the rest of the game changes? Brian, we'll go in the order. Brian, we'll start with you. What was the most important pivotal of those many plays that went wrong for Seattle?
Oh, I think it's the obvious one. It's the Moore holding call. DK scored, game was over. That was it. We were all throwing confetti around in our rooms. It was over.
True, but we could have not even had to be in overtime. We wouldn't have to even see that play if something happens early. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
But we were. You can go all the way back to the beginning of the game and go, if the Seahawks would have won the coin toss and got to defer the second. There's a million factors, but the factor, the most pivotal factor, the most factual factor is the fact that we scored in overtime and David Moore decided to hold on a play he didn't even need to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can't argue with that. But what an amazing way that game would have been to have finished with DK running down that very same sideline that he made that cheetah chasing the gazelle play on Buda Baker. It would have been so poetic to have, just like the Dallas game, right? The Dallas game where he had the ball knocked out and he scores a winning touchdown. This was almost the opposite. He runs down the guy, saves a touchdown, and scores it to win the game when he has done almost nothing offensively. Oh, God, I wish that would have happened. All right, so that's your play. Calvin, do you have a different pivotal play in the game?
Yeah, I got to go with the Vincent Mayoa penalty because, like I said, we were up by 10. it was a 2-possession game, 34-24, with just a couple minutes to go. And if they had gotten a field goal, they would have had 2 minutes to get a stop and to score a touchdown, in which I think it would have been very unlikely, because I think that we would have ran the ball out, and they wouldn't have had a chance to even score a touchdown. And so I definitely got to go with the Benson Mayowa play. I feel like that kind of just killed it for us, and you could tell like the rest of the team just looked deflated, and you could tell in the way that we played, we just didn't really play the same. So I got to go with that play.
And it's hard to measure the magnitude, because you can say, well, they just scored the field goal there. Instead, they have to score a touchdown. But scoring a touchdown late in the game, we know how different that is. Seattle's really good when the back's against the wall and they got that end zone kind of to protect them. But if you have to say with this defense, keep them out of field goal range, I don't know anybody here would feel like how confident you'd be in stopping them from getting to field goal range. That is why that play was so huge. Noah, how about you? Do you have a different pivotal play in the game?
Well, one that wasn't really in our control, the bad call on Bobby Wagner, but because that turned into a touchdown drive where we had him off the field, and later on in the game, obviously that came into effect because we went to overtime. But that's not really in our control because of the bad penalty call. So the play that I would say that was in our control, where we should have had the ball in our best player's hands to make the play despite already having 2 interceptions on the game, instead of giving it to Carlos Hyde on 3rd and 2 late in the game with an opportunity to essentially clinch it. I didn't like that play call. I didn't like the fact that it wasn't in Russ's hands, and then it didn't work, and we gave the ball back to him, giving them a chance to go down and score the game or tie the game. So the play that we could control that we really screwed up, and it wouldn't have even allowed the DK play later on in overtime, was if we just would have ran out the clock with the lead at the end of the game. But we were unable to do so because we took the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands.
That 3rd and 2. We just needed 6 feet, and we could have ended the game. 6 feet, and as soon as we didn't get it, already my stomach sunk. I knew what was going to happen. Daniel Kirk in the super chat says, what does he say here? He says, I think the pivotal point was when the Carlos Hyde, can I get the 2 yards to end the game? Just what you were talking about. I'm going to go back to, you guys kind of stole mine, because I definitely thought the Bobby Wagner one really was a huge point, because we had just gotten to stop. The momentum was about to swing, and if we'd scored a touchdown with them kicking deep from their own territory, we get the ball with good field position, I think we'd go down and score. And I think at that point we'd have gone up by 17 points. Instead of a 17-point deficit, it becomes a 3, because it kept the drive alive, and they end up scoring the touchdown. 17-3. That's how quickly that huge call had an effect. But not to blame the refs. Being that you guys took all my favorite ones, because it was going to be that one, and there was going to be the Mayo one, and then the third 2. And of course, the one that you talked about, Brian. But I think for me, I know we eventually did stop them, but that play where Chris Carson, where he tried to float it to Chris Carson, got picked off, it's not so much the end of the sequences that happened as a result, because he did chase him down. We did get the stop, and then I think we went down and did score. I can't remember. Did we get a field goal after that, or did we score a touchdown after that play? After the Seattle got the ball back.
Field goal.
We got a field goal.
To
me, that even though we had that sort of feel good, yeah, we got the stop, they didn't score, there's something about, had we just put that in and scored, I think that would have totally killed any hopes of the Cardinals feeling like they could come back in that game. Again, it's just holding us to 3, and then instead of going to 7, it's just such a swing, and keeps them feeling like we're in this, as opposed to you get up 17, I was like, I don't know, So I feel like that kind of started it, because that was very early in the game when things were all going Seattle's offensive ways, and that's kind of when things suddenly turned, and we started having things start misfiring. There you go. Turning points, things that went wrong. The thing I wanted to talk about was, defensively, we all know how we struggled. We gave up tons of yards. We couldn't get a hit on Kyler Murray. That's been talked to death. What I thought was interesting, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, was where I thought where we failed was, I thought we got out-coached, particularly in the overtime period, especially when they missed that kick. And Seattle has the chance of, we're all screaming, oh my God, he missed it. And you suddenly felt like this is it. Russell's going to go down, no more time left. He's going to go down there, at least get in field goal range, probably score a touchdown. I think everybody in the room and everybody watching believed that was going to happen. But then those guys got so creative defensively because we kind of face the same thing, right? You know you can't have Russell have time. If he has time, he's going to shred that defense. So they did what they had to do, what we couldn't do against Kyler Murray. They blitzed, but they got real creative on it, right? They had that one formation where they had like 10 guys on the line of scrimmage, right? And you're going, oh my God, who's going to cover who? And then they dropped like 4, and then they rushed the corner. And then, of course, we had DJ Dallas trying to pass block, and he couldn't pick up the blitzer. And they ended up, I think we got sacked, or Russ got hit while he was trying to throw. I mean, they got the best of us, and we were not ready for it. I just thought, why can't we do some of that? Because I know we can't change our personnel, but they did. They changed. They didn't change their personnel. They changed the scheme, and it worked. They fooled us, and I thought that was brilliant on the side of Arizona's defense because they stopped Russ the Magician because they took away what he needed the most, which was time, and not because they had superior personnel. It's because they changed the scheme. I think that was a huge point of emphasis in that overtime. I'm going to get your thoughts on that. Did you see the same thing? Did you feel like that we were outcoached in that overtime period? Brian, I'm going to throw it your way.
You bring up a good point, and I hadn't thought about it as being outcoached. What I did think of it as is that I expect my quarterback to be able to get his offense in position to deal with the different formations that come up, whether he's seen them throughout the game or not, based on his film study, tendencies, film study from that team from previous years, film study of that defensive coordinator and what he likes to do. It's not the first time the Cardinals have done that. It was just the first time that game that they've done that. And I didn't think Russ was well prepared. I just think this was an off game for Russ, as off of a game as he can have. And guess what? There's probably 15 teams in the NFL that would love to see their quarterbacks have an off game like Russ has, right? Because he still did some spectacular things, but I put that on Russ more than I put that on the coaching.
Well, I see Squabo disagreeing about that. And here's the thing, though, is that you also didn't have Travis Homer, I mentioned that, in the backfield protecting us. DJ Dallas, and we're down to DJ Dallas is our only healthy running back at that point. He whiffed big time on 2 consecutive plays where they did those formations. So maybe Russell's doing everything he can, but if you got a guy back there, he doesn't really know what he's doing and missing the guy who gets in to make the play. Russ can do everything right, but if somebody completely whiffs, that's not on him.
No, that's true, but don't forget, these guys practice every day. Russ knows exactly what DJ Dallas is capable of and what he's not capable of and what to expect when he's in the game. So I agree, though. I mean, it may not all be on Russ, but I definitely wouldn't say that the Seahawks were outcoached.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, it starts with the formation, right? If you know DJ Dallas can pass block, well, don't put him back there where he's the only guy who can save him. I think they got to probably change the formation, put an extra tight end back there. Maybe they already did. I don't know. But whatever it is, they would have to make account for that. And I don't know if that's on Russ because he's just running the drill on by himself, or if there's coaching going in there. But I think to hear from the other guys. Steezy, what do you think? Outcoached, or do you think it was just Russ not being prepared, or is it just Arizona, making a play and us not?
Can I say all 3? Is that a cop-out? We lost the football game, and so I could definitely say we were outcoached, but I just feel like the errors that we made, Russell wasn't throwing 3 picks, Benson Mayowa, that penalty, DK Metcalf, David Moore, that penalty. I guess you could point to the Carlos Hyde play as we were outcoached in that situation.
Well, I was talking specifically about the overtime period. The overtime because period. I was talking about how they defensively, when they knew they missed the field goal and they came down, and it's like everybody knew Russell. This is like wipe everything off the table, all the mess ups, the 2 interceptions, and it's like Russell's going to go down. All he has to do is get in field goal range. He only has to go like 30 yards, right? It wasn't that far from where he had to go. And who's to think that Russell can't get his offense down the field 30 yards to get in field goal range? Nobody didn't think he could do it, and they stopped him because I felt at that point they outcoached us. That's what I'm trying to get at. At that moment, I felt like we were outcoached, but. Care to disagree?
I'd still put that on Russ. I think that because all of us, we've been spoiled. The coaching staff has been spoiled. They all just believed in Russ. They were like, Russ knows what to do. He gonna get the job done. And obviously he wasn't. And it's the first time all season that he was unable to get the job done. And so I'd still put it on Russ. I mean, that's just me.
Squabo, I see you shaking your head a couple times over there. Disagree?
I disagree with everyone here. I think we're all wrong. I think it's on DJ Dallas. I don't think we were outcoached on that play. I think defensively they made a great play call, and that's absolutely something I would love to see Seattle do, lining everyone up on the line of scrimmage and then blitzing some and confusing us with all the trickery. The problem is when we get to this point in time, and I understand you're asking about the specific play, but the game of football is the ultimate team sport. Why is that? Well, because at any given point, one player messing up of 11, the other 10 can do their job, and one player messes up, it can cost you a ball game. When you go to the overtime period, and it's sudden death style of football play, one player messing up can cost you a game. That's what happened with DJ Dallas when he got on that field. I've been that guy that got onto the football team for the first time. It was my first varsity start. And even though we had practiced stuff for years at my high school, and I know the system and I know what I'm supposed to be doing, we get out there and it's my first time out there, and I'm looking at some of these defenders and they give us a look that we haven't seen all game, and they give us a look that we didn't even see on film last week, and they dial it up, a situational blitz like that. We don't see those very often. And they line up as a rookie player, DJ Dallas. He might have been coached perfectly and just saw all those guys. It was stacked heavily to the left from the offense's perspective. For his eyes, he thought he was going to have to go left and go get him. The whole line shifted left, and he has to go to the right. But that's one of those things where it was a bang-bang thing. He goes out there, he sees a crazy look that he didn't expect to see, and everything that he got coached goes out the window because he's looking across on a bunch of really heavy guys that are going to run straight at him. So you saw, like, as soon as that ball snapped, he just goes straight to the left. Like, he's like, okay, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to be? Doesn't even look back. He doesn't even realize he messed up at first because he's just so concerned, so caught up in the moment. I don't think it's coaching. I don't think it's Russell Wilson. I think other points of the games, you could blame on both of those guys. But this specific moment, because it came down to this final drive in overtime, DJ Dallas cost it to us because as soon as he missed that block, Russell Wilson was done, and that ended up leading to the final pick where Russell Wilson sees something, and that next play is going to be on Russell Wilson. I don't know where he was throwing it. I don't know why he threw that. I don't know why he lobbed it in that situation. If Isaiah Simmons didn't get the pick, the safety would have got the pick. There were going to be multiple players getting the ball for a turnover on that play. Russell Wilson made a bad decision, but on the specific play in question where it was a great blitz, I understand it's a great call defensively. The fault is on DJ Dallas.
Here's the bottom line, Norb. When you're in Arizona, in that stadium, driving toward that goal line, never, ever, ever, if you're a Seahawk, throw a ball to get picked at the goal line again. And Russ had that one early, and that set the tone for the rest of the time.
And you know what's the worst thing about it? That's the same freaking stinking end zone that it happened in. Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that. I was in that stupid stadium, in that end zone, staring the ball in the face, coming at me when it got picked off. This time he just threw it slightly at a different angle. Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that. We're cursed in that end zone. Holy cow. Oh, my God. I got Nick LeBeau in here saying, people are saying DJ needs better blocking, but why aren't we using Nick Boelter as a blocker? I know he's more of a utility fullback, but still, I don't know. I still think again, Squabo, to sort of use your argument against you, you said it confused him because they overloaded the left side, so he thought he had to go there. But that's part of the misdirection, isn't it? You show this, and then you pull out, and then you show that instead. That's part of the confusion. That's what I was saying. I thought they got creative, and I thought that's where they got smarter to take advantage and make it more confusing so that there was a chance somebody would miss their block. Anyway, so I know we got to move on. Somebody in there says, move on. Let's talk about how we beat the 49ers. So, is there anything else we haven't covered about this game? We're going to transition into the next topic of conversation, which is clearly we had no pressure on the quarterback, or whether it was bad design because they didn't want to try to rush him and try to keep him contained, or we simply don't have pressure. But that leads into what we're going to talk about next, which was the big breaking news of the day, that we have some help there. But before we do that, before we wrap it up with the Cardinals game, I have to play back our predictions from last week and talk about how accurately we all were. So this will be fun. This was from last week's show, everybody's predictions on how the Seahawks were going to do against the Arizona Cardinals. Check it out.
In this game, I think it's going to be 32-24 Seahawks.
I'm going to say 33-25 to 06.
33-27.
34-28 Hawks.
31-27. Okay, so there we go. I put the big red X buzzer on every single one of us. So here's the scores on the screen. Brian, you said 32-24. Steezy, 33-25. Noah Squabble, 33-27. Martin said 34-28, and I said 31-27. We were all pretty much off. The score was much higher. We never gave the Cardinals any credit to go past 30, and obviously they got 10 points higher than 9 points higher than the highest estimate for what the Cardinals were going to get. So there you go. That was the score wrap up from the Cardinals game. I think at this point we can bury this game. Let's put that in the rearview mirror. Unless you have one last thing. Anyone else want to bring up anything from that Cardinals game before we move on to the next topic? No? We're done? Okay, good. All right.
Wait.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
No. Go ahead.
As soon as this happened, I remember this moment, and in this moment, I was like, dude, this is so early, but I do not want to forget this moment. It deserves to be addressed. And how about one of the best, historically in Seahawks history, opening drives ever, where Seattle goes down the field, 4-5 straight passes, dicing up the defense. That's all schemed up plays heading in. That's game plan. Those are already scripted, and we went down and we dissected the Arizona Cardinals on the opening drive. I love the aggression early. We let Russ cook early. We just failed later on.
And to Noah's point, because that's exactly spot on, the Seahawks did exactly what we kind of talked about and said that they probably would try to do, which is let Russ cook early, get that lead, and then control the clock to keep the ball out of Kyler Murray's hands. And they were doing that until Chris Carson went down. And then this game, then they were kind of stuck, and they had to force the issue sometimes
25.
with Russ. So they had the game plan. They had the 2-score lead. They had this game. I'm so glad we can put it in a rearview mirror because it's a heartbreaking loss, but I don't think we're going to see one like that again this year.
Yeah, sorry for the misfire clip. I accidentally played that score on somebody again. Big red X on your face.
Keep our credibility down while you can, huh?
But yeah, actually, I meant to say we didn't talk about any of the positives in that game. We should, because that was amazing. We did start out, we had a 10-0 lead, and it felt like we were going to just run away because they couldn't stop us. And then, of course, the performance by Tyler Lockett, the best performance since Steve Largent, 1987, by a Seahawk. I mean, that's historic. I mean, that is amazing. 87. I graduated from high school in 87. Are you freaking kidding me? That's how long that record has stood. And the dimes that Russell threw to him when things were still going good at that time, right? I mean, those catches, those passes, especially the toe tap one in the end zone when it looked like he was out of bounds. Magnificent. So we got to acknowledge the good stuff. I know it's hard to win in a loss because you're just so focused on the negative, which obviously we're in the beginning of the show. But yeah, the stuff you brought up, and that performance, what more can you say? So Steezy, anything you want to add positive that Seattle did in that game that we must not forget as we move forward? Because we did have a lot of great things happen, overshadowed by the negative. But any other standout positive moments that you can think of?
I mean, aside from Tyler Lockett going off, nothing too much stands out to me. But is it possible that we have 2 top 10 receivers here in Seattle, or is that a stretch?
No, I think you're right, Steezy. I think that's definitely a possibility. I think Tyler Lockett, like I said, I think when I first joined you guys, is that I think he's the best slot receiver in the NFL. And we know last week he lacked for catches, and it was clear that Russ was intent on getting him involved early in this game. And DK, we all know what he can do, and he's just getting going and figuring things out. That rundown of Buda Baker, as Buda called it, getting hawked, that was incredible. And I've known Buda for a long time. Known him going all the way back before his high school days, and that dude is not slow. I promise you that. He is extremely, extremely fast. So to see DK do what he did is one of the more incredible things I've seen this season in the NFL, period.
I'd said, yeah, and the internet was buzzing about that play for the moment it happened, comparing again like a cheetah chasing down a gazelle. It was just a man chasing a boy down at that point. But I do feel like I mentioned it at the time of the broadcast in our reaction video that I think that's lesson learned from what happened to him in that Dallas game. You know, when he got chased down from behind and he kind of jogged in and got nonchalant, got the ball poked out, he learned that the defender should never quit because you chase him down to the last second. thinking a good thing might happen. And I'm sure when he saw him running, he was probably thinking, maybe I can pop the ball out of this guy's hands, do what happened to me. So it was cool just to see in this season just DK's growth, not only from a performance standpoint, but I feel like mentally and even just in terms of the lessons of the game, seeing that play happen. I don't know if that play happens if he doesn't have that happen in Dallas. So sometimes a bad thing early in the season really does translate into a great thing down the line. And this game here, that had a lot of ugly mistakes, who knows? Maybe from this, a lot of great performances or actions or lessons learned. Even Russell, who's been in this league for 8 seasons, he probably learned some things that he's not going to ever do again. And like you guys said, I don't think we'll see another multi-interception game from him in a while. At least we got to knock on wood and hope that that's the case. But yeah, that was pretty amazing. So
one last thing about Buda Baker. When he was at Bellevue, he wanted all his teachers to call him by his real name, Bashard. So I tweeted him and called him Bashard because he got schooled by DK Metcalf on that play.
Bashard. Oh, that's not a well-known fact. That's pretty cool to know. Buda, but formerly known as Bashard. All right. Okay, so that's it. Shall we put this in the rearview mirror officially now? I think we acknowledge the good, a lot of the bad, but let's transition into what happened earlier today. To answer that lack of pass rush, we've been wanting some kind of a move, and they did it today. They traded with the Cincinnati Bengals and got Carlos Dunlap for basically a 7th-round pick and backup center B.J. Finney. I want to get your opinions on what you think. It seems to me that everybody loves this move. I love it. I think it's great, and we didn't have to give up much for it. I think it's awesome, but I want to see if you guys are unanimously think the same thing. Let's go to Steezy. What's your thoughts? Did you like this?
Man, what? I loved it. At the measly cost of a 7th-round pick and a 3rd-string center who was taking up $4 million of the cap, I mean, I'll take that. Dunlap, look, it might seem like he's having a down year. He only has 1 sack. PFF has given him a putrid 53.9 rating on the season, but as you guys can see, I mean, he was playing with a whole bunch of youngins. He obviously doesn't fit that timeline, and he was very disgruntled, and so he just wasn't happy over there. They weren't playing him at all, and I think that once he comes back to Seattle, he's playing for a winner. He's playing for a team with an established culture. He's going to be surrounded by a whole bunch of other great players and Bobby Wagner, Quandre Diggs. Once Jamal Adams comes back, KJ Wright, he's going to have a multitude of players to look up to and to expect consistent production alongside with. And so I think he's still an elite pass rusher. Last season, he had 9 sacks in a part-time role for a still pretty bad Cincinnati Bengals defense. His run block grade, his pass rushing grade by Pro Football Focus was still very high. I think his run grade blocking was like 89.0, which is good for 3rd amongst all defensive ends. He's everything that we need here in Seattle. He's still versatile. He's athletic. He can get after the quarterback. He can stop the run. He can bat passes down at the line of scrimmage. I love the pickup, but I hope that we don't stop there. There's still a whole bunch of other pass rushers that are available. Clay Matthews is still out there. Because I kind of look back to 2013. Remember when we brought in both Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett? Well, I think that this time around we should also look to double down and not just stop at Carlos Dunlap. Maybe go after a Ryan Kerrigan. What about Geno Atkins? He's a very still elite defensive tackle. We can have our own version of Aaron Donald, albeit a little older. So I don't think we should be done shopping yet. We shouldn't stop at Carlos Dunlap. He's not going to be able to solve all of our pass rushing woes, even once Adams comes back, even once Michael Kendricks gets back into the even once he gets accustomed, even when Damon Snacks Harrison gets accustomed as well, we still, I think, have a weakness on that pass rush. And so while I love the move, we shouldn't stop there.
All right. Yeah, I see a lot of people in the chat. Elena, one of my mods, saying Aldon Smith might be on the market as well. But let's focus on this guy right here. Let's go to Squabo. Squabo, thoughts on what Dunlap can do for us? Obviously, I think we all like the move, and we didn't give up too much. Seemed to work out well because I think they need some offensive linemen too. So I think it's a good fit. We got a need that we got filled, and they had a need that got filled. But Squabo, your thoughts on this? Oh, muted. You're muted.
All right. Now let's look at the last couple of games as a whole. Ever since we lost Jamal Adams halfway through the Dallas game, the Miami game, Ended up being a little bit closer than it should have been, but we were still able to win it somewhat handily. The Minnesota game, we should have lost that game. We somehow make a play in the end, a couple plays in the end that go and allow us to win that ball game. The Arizona game, it was down to a play. If we had a play on either side of the ball, we would have won that game, but we didn't get it done. So ever since we lost Jamal Adams, we've been the skin of our teeth away from essentially being 1-2, and we could have gone 0-3 throughout that stretch. Jamal Adams is such a difference maker when he comes back because of the fact that on any given play, he can make a play that completely alters the game. He can get
Can I interrupt you for a second? Can I interrupt you? We did have Jamal Adams against the Patriots, and we had to do a 1-inch goal line stand to keep them from winning that game, though. Just throwing it into your argument as you process this.
Hold on.
Okay, all right.
You gotta know where I'm going with this.
All right, sorry. I fired too soon. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
Jamal Adams is one of those guys that any given play can make a difference in a ballgame that completely alters it. That is what we're bringing in Carlos Dunlap. Another guy that on any given play can alter a game drastically by getting to the quarterback when it's needed the most. Like we said, we had no sacks last week, one pressure last week. We needed a Carlos Dunlap who on any given play could have made a difference in that game. If we have Carlos Dunlap or Jamal Adams on our defense in last game, I believe we win last game. That's what we're bringing in with Carlos Dunlap. Moving down the road here, our defense isn't going to be very efficient. We're still going to give up a lot of yards. We're still going to have a lot of errors mentally and physically. But what we are bringing in is a playmaker that can get the ball back in Seattle's hands and put the ball back in our superstar, our MVP, Russell Wilson's hands with a chance to win us ball games.
All right, so you're up on it. I just like the numbers, man, because one thing I love about him is that he's really durable, because if you look at his he's 31, but he's played in practically every single game. So he's a guy who's solid. He's out there, and his sack numbers, they're consistent. So they're higher than anybody we got right now from any season of the past 10 years. So it's looking good. So, Brian, how about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great trade. It's exactly what most people wanted, kind of what we thought was going to happen near the trade deadline. They were going to go get another piece of the puzzle and a pass rusher, and I'm super happy about it. And he's not obviously going to be able to play this week because I believe that they got to sit for 5 days while they go through the quarantine process. Not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure. But and I know, like Steezy is saying that he hopes they don't stop there, and I do too. But the reality is they don't have a lot of draft capital left. They gave up a player and a 7th-round pick. They gave up B.J. Finney, who came in and was supposed to be the starting center and just failed miserably. So go on and try your career somewhere else. That's totally fine. And the 7th-round pick, but they don't have a lot left. They do have some down the road in a couple years, but here's the thing. If you're a GM of another team, you're trying to build this team for your tenure there, and you don't maybe know how long you're going to be with that team, how far down the road are you willing to trade? You know, how many is a draft pick in 2023 going to do you as the GM any good to build this team? So that's going to limit the scope of the ability to trade for another player. So I'm not saying they're not going to do it. They could make one as we're speaking right now, but I'm just saying I wouldn't count on it, and I would look for them to be picking up some of these free agents that are getting released around the league and giving them some tryouts. Dontari Poe just released by the Cowboys. That's a name that comes to mind right now off the top of my head.
Right, yeah. As we approach the deadline, there's a lot of guys, a lot of teams who are obviously sort of out for the year. They're not going anywhere. They're going to be cutting bait and releasing a lot of these big players. And Seattle's in the perfect spot to scoop some of them up. We just don't have a lot of, like I said, a lot of draft capital left because we've used up so much of it. We're going to be hardly picking anybody next year based on just how much we've had to give up.
Oh, but Schneider will maneuver us into position. Yeah.
He'll do some magician tricks and go, look at my hands. I have nothing. Oh, look at this. All of a sudden we got two. Where'd that come from?
Exactly.
He'll find a way.
Remember when we had 4 picks? I think it was last season or the year before that, and he turned into 11?
11 or 12, yeah.
Good point. But we got to win now. I mean, we know that this is a rare year that we've got all these things happening offensively. But to transition, the injury bug, which we had been doing okay on, suddenly we just got slammed with it. We've got, on the defensive side, we've lost Shaquille Griffin. He's under concussion protocol, so we don't know what his situation will be this week. On the other side of the ball, on the offense, which had been pretty quiet on the injury front, suddenly we're back to the end of 2019, where every running back in our stable, minus DJ Dallas, is on the injured list and don't know if they're going to play. Suddenly, who's going to run the ball on Sunday? That's my biggest question right now moving forward, is that these guys that we picked up, they're going to be great. And we got Rasheem Green coming back from the injured list. Looks like he's practicing this week. Jamal Adams may go this Sunday. God, please let Jamal be healthy enough to go. But we're not going to get Dunlap. He's going to got to go through the protocol, so he will not play on Sunday. There's just no way. So it won't be until next weekend that we get to enjoy his talents. So let's transition and talk a little bit about the injury situation as it applies to this game against the 49ers, who themselves are facing a buttload of injuries on the running back front, on the receiving front, defensive front. So we got two really banged up teams, but nevertheless, they destroyed the Patriots. I guess let's talk. I do want to talk about the running back situation. What do you guys think is going to happen there? And we can't call in Marshawn Lynch out of the parking lot to come join us for this game. It's nobody can help us. It's got to be done from within. What's your guys' thoughts of just in general injuries wise as we go into this game against the 49ers? Let's start with you, Steezy.
I mean, like you said, it's going to have to be in-house. I was looking through our practice squad earlier, and I might be mistaken, but I didn't see any running backs on our current practice squad. I hope I'm wrong, though, because I know we did call up Ryan Neal. I know we did call up Shaquem Griffin, and so I hope we fill those two spots with the running back. But I don't know. I mean, Carlos Hyde still has a chance to play this week. Maybe he tries to gut it out, and he'll play decoy, and DJ Dallas is going to have to take a majority of the reps. But I just think that maybe we'll see DK maybe run a few jet sweeps. Maybe we try to incorporate Russ Wilson into the running game. He had a season best 84 rushing yards last week. Maybe we design more read options, more RPOs, try to mix things up in terms of running the football. Just because there's no way we could be one-dimensional against a San Francisco pass defense that ranks number 4 in all the NFL. So I think that we're just going to have to look to bring in other guys and hopefully look to DK, look to Tyler, and look to Russ to kind of take care of things on that end.
Squabo, what's your thoughts on the injury situation? That's why I did a video yesterday. Is it time for Seahawks fans to panic? What do you think? Can we get through this? Can we get through this game here with the limited personnel that we could be facing here? Look,
the 49ers are injured as well. We're not the only ones battered going into this game, so it's going to be a battle regardless. In terms of guys on our backfield that can be significant and have significant impact in this game and moving forward, Carlos Hyde has a real chance to play. Apparently he was injured more on the celebration than actually in game, so they're thinking it was more like a cramp kind of deal with him, so hopefully he can play. But DJ Dallas, the starter for me, as long as he knows how to do the pass protection, I'm okay with putting him in there. But he has to know all his assignments, quiz him multiple times throughout the rest of the week, make sure that he's on the right page about those. But in terms of, and I heard a reporter asking about this, and they brought this name up, and I think this is a brilliant idea, as long as he holds on to the football, because that has been a concern. But one out-of-position player that I would like to see get more involved in the running game, now that we have all these injuries, how about David Moore? Every time he touches the football, it's elusive. He has a great sense of his surroundings. His awareness is off the charts. He has great footwork. He cuts it up when it's not supposed to be cut up, and that's what leads to these big gains. He's always adding yards to plays that shouldn't be there. We've started to give him the ball in a couple of jet sweeps. It catches the defense off guard pretty much every time, and David Moore is consistently getting more yards than he's supposed to. So I want to see us go to David Moore a little bit more on some fly sweeps.
All right, David Moore to add to the running game there. Hey, Brian, how about you, man? What's your thoughts on the injury situation with Seattle?
DJ Dallas, come on down. This is your opportunity to make the big time. Let me tell you something about DJ Dallas. DJ Dallas is an extremely intelligent guy. I mean, even his coaches at Miami, his professors at Miami were like, this guy is super smart. I don't doubt that he's going to pick up the mistakes that he made in this last game and correct them and get in there and learn the formations. I expect him to do much better in pass blocking. We saw a little bit of him against Miami on his home field, his hometown. He's got some burst. He's got some moves. He can get north-south. So I'm actually really excited to see what DJ Dallas is going to bring to the table for this team over the next few years. And we're going to get a really good look at it against the 49ers. If any other running backs are able to play, that's great. It is a very tough situation. Steezy brought up a great point. Hey, maybe this is the time where you're going to design some runs for Russ. Maybe you bring back that RPO, I mean, we haven't seen that in quite some time, and this might be the time to do it and give Russ the chance to keep the ball and actually go on some design runs. So yeah, it's a concern. There's no question, because a good running game, as I said last week, and as you guys very well know, is a quarterback's best friend. And if you don't have a threat of a good running game, that's going to put that much more pressure on your quarterback.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to go into this game being one-dimensional, because once you figure out a team is one-dimensional, it becomes real easy to start figuring out ways to stop them. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And if any of those guys can come back, hopefully maybe at least 2 out of 3. I think Carson's pretty much not going to happen, but maybe Carlos Hyde and possibly Travis Homer has a chance to go. So DJ Dallas, you're right. This is his opportunity to step it up and be the man. As a rookie, show what he can do. So let's talk about it. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Just real quick, we don't know exactly when Penny's coming back, but Pete Carroll said that Penny was out there cutting hard and saw him working out. It looked good by his standards, so that might happen sooner than later. And I said this last year on Twitter, and everybody laughed at me, and it ended up happening because I actually had a little bit of insight to it. But don't be surprised if they throw that bat signal up for Marshawn to get him back in here for the next couple weeks. I don't know how early Marshawn wants to return into the season, but I do know that he's been continuously staying in shape for that possibility, because they discussed at the end of last year about the possibility of him returning again under the right circumstances. And last year I found out, through family members of his, that he was at the VMAC a couple months prior to it, meeting with Schneider. So I kind of knew something was up for a long time. I haven't heard anything like that this time, but I'm all for it, because he didn't rack up a whole bunch of yards last year, but he had a couple incredible touchdowns, and he brought so much to the table for those young running backs.
Well, and this probably might be the most important key. It's something my dad brought up, but he had mentioned how in the Beacon Plumbing ads, it was Marshawn Lynch as the face, the poster guy. He was in all the advertisement, right? Stop freaking, call Beacon, right? And then they switched to Bobby Wagner after Marshawn Lynch retired. But I don't know if you've noticed the commercials, but Marshawn Lynch is back as the face of his commercials are running again. And my dad was wondering about that. And I was like, you might have something there. So maybe that connection between what you're saying between Marshawn Lynch's family members, the conversation they had at the end of the year, and now the Beacon Plumbing, it's the trifecta that's going to bring it all together. And Marshawn Lynch might be the reason he's coming back. It's all the signs point to it.
They brought those commercials back last year when he came back, and then again replaced him with Bobby Wagner after the season was over. So you're right. The new ones are Marshawn. That's very interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? Things that make you go, All right, so let's talk about this kind of specifically with the game. I guess we want to jump right into the keys to the game. We already talked about the injuries on both sides. The 49ers look, again, I question, is it because the 49ers are playing that well, despite their injuries, that they were able to destroy the Patriots, or are the Patriots just really sucking right now? Cam Newton looked like, I don't know what he was doing out there, but they couldn't put up any resistance. So I'm trying, it's hard to tell how good they really are. But what do you guys think? Give me some keys to getting a win in this very crucial divisional game on Sunday. Let's start with Steezy. Steezy, give me your keys to beating the 49ers.
I kind of went into it earlier, but because we're so depleted at the running back position, we need to design more play calls from Russ Wilson, be more diverse with the game plan, run some RPOs, read options, bring that back. And as I said earlier, he had a season high of 84 rushing yards this season, so he's still as explosive or he's still a threat to run the football. He might not be as explosive as he was a couple of years ago, but obviously he can still shred a defense running the football. And as I mentioned earlier, we don't want to appear one-dimensional. DJ Dallas, for as good as he might be, he's still a rookie, and he hasn't had very many snaps all season long. And Carlos Hyde, even if he does play, he is dealing with a hamstring injury. He is hobbled, and so who knows how effective he's going to be, even if he suits up for us. And so my key number one, definitely just try to mix things up in the run game, utilize Russell Wilson, maybe try to bring DK Metcalf on a couple jet sweeps. And I like the point that Noah brought up as well. I did notice that with David Moore, he's very elusive with the football in his hands, and he can do some things with the football in his hands. And so why not try him out with a few set plays, a couple sweeps here and there as well. So key number one, diversify the offense, especially in terms of the ground game, and use Russ, use DK, use those other receivers. Key number two, I said, let's force Kendrick Bourne and Brandon Ayuk to defeat us. And with that, I mean, let's use bracket coverage towards George Kittle. He's the only real legitimate threat on that side of the football. As you guys mentioned earlier, they're dealing with the horde of injuries. Jeff Wilson Jr., who ran for 117 yards and 3 touchdowns last week, he's on injured reserve. Tevin Coleman might not come back. Raheem Mostert's on IR. Jerick McKinnon had -1 yard all of last week. And so who knows how healthy he is. He's been recovering from back-to-back torn ACLs, and Kyle Shanahan talked about how they wanted to rest him in last week's victory against the Patriots. Well, what if he's not rested enough? And so their only real threat on offense is George Kittle. Jimmy Garoppolo, for as dominant as the Niners looked last week, Jimmy Garoppolo is very pedestrian. He threw for just barely over 200 yards, had 2 picks and no touchdowns. And so I think if we're able to take away George Kittle, his only real threat on offense, I think that bodes well for our chances of winning the football game. And key number 3, keying on the run. Obviously, despite who Kyle Shanahan has on the roster playing running back, he's still able to generate a great ground game because of the scheme, because of the blocking and all that. And so I think if we key in on the run, we got to force Jimmy Garoppolo to beat us. And anytime you force Jimmy Garoppolo to beat you, it usually doesn't end up well for the Niners. So those are my 3 keys. Number 1, utilize more RPOs, diversify the ground game. Number 2, force Brandon Ayuk and Kendrick Bourne to beat us. And number 3, key in on the run and force Jimmy Garoppolo to beat us.
I like that, especially the George Kittle one, because it was kind of like when watching the Cardinals, we knew he was going to throw to DeAndre Hopkins, right? And I kept thinking, why don't you brought up in your article that you wrote for Fan to Fan Network about why don't you put the best corner on DeAndre Hopkins? And I was looking at that thinking, why don't they do that? Because he's going to go to him. He went so many times, and he just was so open all the time. And George Kittle is going to be the guy. He's going to be looking to him as like his safety blanket, his escape route every single time. So they've got to find some way to take him out of the game. So hopefully that kind of approach could work. Let's go to Squabo. Give us your keys to the game.
Well, Norb, one thing I've learned about living by myself at college, and I like to compare a lot of things to things that I've learned at college. One thing I've learned about living by myself at college is how to organize creating your shopping list, right? Sometimes early on in this process, I'll go to the store and I'll have it written down somewhere, but I'll leave it at home or I'll leave it in the car, and I'm in the store and I'm just like trying to remember everything that was on the list. And I get as many things as I can remember, and I get the important stuff for tonight and then for a couple nights from now. But there's always at least one thing.
Yeah. And then the Cardinal sin: if you go shopping hungry, you're screwed, because then you buy everything you shouldn't have because you're hungry. But anyway, sorry to interrupt. I couldn't help myself.
No, exactly.
That's the two for $5 Oreos. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, and then I forget the back scrubbing brush because I'm not hungry for that. And so essentially, I'll go home and instantly I'm already thinking about my next shopping list. And how that always starts is I take over all the things that I missed from the previous shopping list, and I start with those, and those are the priority, and then I add whatever else I'm going to need at that point in time when I go shopping. That is exactly what the Seattle Seahawks need to do for a game plan for beating the 49ers. Let's take off our shopping list from last week that we did wrong, and let's improve upon those factors moving forward. We just talked about the problems that we had in last week's game. We had 3 picks offensively. We didn't get any sacks, and we had 8 penalties for 78 yards. That is my 3 keys for this week for Seattle. For Seattle to be victorious, we cannot have more than 8 penalties. We cannot have 8 penalties. I need 3 or less penalties for Seattle, and they can't be huge, costly penalties in important moments of the game, defensively or offensively. I need pressure for Seattle. I want at least 3 sacks. Obviously, that is not going to happen. But if we're able to get 3 sacks, I feel like that guarantees us a victory. 2 would be great. I say 3 guarantees us a victory because with 0, we're still winning ball games. And then finally, Russell Wilson, no more throwing lob passes to underneath routes. Stop trying to put touch on it when players are fading away and they're looking back towards you so they can't see where the defender is. So for this week for Seattle, our keys are directly translated from last week's shopping list. The things that we forgot, we have to get pressure on the quarterback. We cannot have penalties in crucial situations, and we cannot throw 3 interceptions in the ballgame.
Very good, sir. Brian, your keys.
Well, you guys brought up one of them and hit it pretty heavy. George Kittle. The Seahawks have to find a way to destroy George Kittle. You know they're going to try to get him matched up on linebackers. You know they're going to have him find the seam to split the zone. You know he's going to be a major factor. He was missing from the game down in San Francisco that we won to break their winning streak, undefeated streak last season. He came back. He showed what a force he is. Everybody knows he's probably the best tight end in the NFL. Got to find a way to cut him off. Let the other dudes get their place. Let's throw to the other wide receivers and take our chances. But somehow, some way, they've got to knock George Kittle around. And if that means getting a couple extra late hit penalties or something, I'm not opposed to it. I want Kittle thinking about it. Anytime he's going across the middle or heading towards those linebackers, I want him thinking about it like he would have been thinking about it if Cam Chancellor were still on this team. Number 2, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's got to be the superstar that he is. He's got to have one of the best games that he's had so far this season. And that means taking command, both being accurate, being smart with the football. We know Pete Carroll's number 1 mantra, it's all about the football. That's why up until this year, they haven't had the weapons to let Russ do what he wanted to do because there was too much possibility of losing that football. They feel confident that Russ can take care of it. He didn't show that last week, but again, that's an anomaly. So Russ has to be a superstar. And number 3, special teams. And here's why this is a key. I think this is going to come down to possessing the football, time of possession, and I think if Seattle special teams can, on the defensive side of the special teams, keep that field position poor for San Francisco, keep it to a minimum on punts. And the punter's got to be very good. He's got to be able to get the ball down within the 10-yard line on a short punt, and he's got to be able to get that distance to allow his team to get down there to make the tackle, to give them poor field position than they normally get. And then conversely, the Seahawks need to take advantage and get themselves in the best field position they can, since they don't have a run game that we know of yet to generate a long, sustained drive. And Russ is going to be doing his thing. They need to have a little bit better field position to do that, in my opinion.
All right. Well, so for my keys, there's kind of a lot of crossover because I think we all recognize, the weaknesses we got to build on. But I'll start with my first key. It is Russell Wilson, getting back to MVP version of Russell Wilson. But a little extra on that is not just on that aspect of throwing, because we saw the MVP version of Russell Wilson. We just got to take away the interceptions, as you clearly stated, Brian. But he's got to run more. And I don't know if you guys noticed this. My dad mentioned this while we were watching the game too, is that he was running a lot in the first half, and somehow, somewhere at a point of the game, it just seemed like Russell stopped running. Did you guys notice that? He just stopped running the ball. It seemed like it came after that Patrick Peterson hit, which he kind of got him pretty good as he was starting to get in his slide. He took a lick from Peterson, gave him a tap on his head, said, "Good job, man, way to get the tackle on me." But after that, it seemed like he didn't run anymore. And I don't know if he got spooked out of it, like you're saying. Sometimes one hit can make you think, that kind of hurt. I don't think I want to do that again. I got to keep myself healthy for the 16-game season. And I respect that, because I don't want Russ to run at the expense of risking his body, because the last thing we need is Russell Wilson to come down with an injury, knock on wood. So, knock on wood if you're with me. That is something we don't want, but we still want him to run when the opportunity presents it, because he's one of the best at running and obviously protecting himself. So I want to see that version that I just discussed. Throwing like he threw, like that opening drive against the Cardinals, but run it when it's there. When the seas part and everybody's out in coverage and you see it's open lane with everybody's defenders' backs to you, take that ball and run that sucker. All right, the second one is get pressure, but we can't do it the conventional way, which was what we tried to do against the Cardinals. So we're going to have to manufacture it because we don't have the reinforcements. They're coming, but they're not coming by Sunday. So what do we got to do? We've got to blitz. And like you said, Squabo, let's learn from what we did or what happened to us on Sunday. Let's blitz, but let's disguise the blitz. Don't just kind of put a guy in there, show them, and run them so they can just pick it up. Let's mix it up. So at least if you're going to blitz, make it hard for them to know where it's coming from. I think we have to. There's no way we're going to get pressure. It hasn't happened. There's no way to think it's insanity. Just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, right? That's the definition of insanity. So we got to change the insanity. We've got to go manufacture what we don't have, and that's got to be the blitz. We did it early with Jamal Adams. I think we could still do it, but we got to get creative, and I think we just can't let them have all day back there. We got to get Jimmy. Once Jimmy G gets antsy and scared back there, he turns to a shriveling little wilting flower. So we got to get him uncomfortable, feel a couple licks on his ribs and his shoulders and his all over his body, and then he'll really be in trouble. So we got to manufacture some pressure. And then finally, the last one, I've said this almost every game, and it came true in this one. We won every game where we won the turnover battle, and this is the one time we did not win the turnover battle, and we lost the game. So clearly, that was a Russ thing, but it goes for everybody. Everyone's got to hang on to the ball, whether you're a receiver, whether you're a running back, but particularly Russell, can't throw it away and give it back to the opponent. And for sure, if you're a receiver, to me, turning over also means not catching the ball. Because if you drop an easy pass, that's on you because you're failing the play. Well, it should have been a conversion or a first down. So you got to catch the ball when it's in your hands, hold on to the ball when it's in your hands. If you're running the ball, protect it with two hands. And if we do that, win that turnover battle, I think we can get this game. So those are my keys. Those are my keys to this game. So score predictions. We got to do it. Let's start with Steezy. What's your prediction for this game?
I don't think we're going to touch 30, but we're going to be just a shade under 30. I'm going to say final score, Seattle 29, San Fran 24.
All right, let's go with Squabo.
So I had a score in mind, and then I saw the spread for this game, and I want to pick a side of the spread rather than breaking even. So I'm altering my prediction by 1 point. Originally, I said 28-31 Seahawks, now 31-27 Seattle. I say Seahawks get it done. Always bet on a really good team, well-coached team after getting embarrassed on primetime.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, let's go to Brian. Your score prediction for the Seahawks 49ers.
Yes, I am saying it's going to be 27-17 Seahawks.
Wow, that's a impressive defensive stand by Seattle. Okay, I like it. I like your confidence.
It's not necessarily an impressive defensive stand. San Francisco might rack up a whole ton of yards, but I expect this defense to create a couple turnovers. It's gonna shift that.
Okay. It's a super chat. Guero Munguia. NorbCam, Seahawks don't have a defense, so I hope you guys protect Wilson because Niners are hungry. Yes, they are. They're trying to get out of the basement, which is not a very deep basement. The NFC West is like, it's this narrow. It's like the top to bottom is like this small of a gap. And it's like a bunch of horses all packed together. First place is right here, second right here, third's right here, and fourth's right here. So we gotta build on that lead. We desperately got to get this win here. So my score prediction for this game, I'm going to go with what I said in my season prediction music video. I'm going to stick with it. Same differential as yours, Squabo. 4 points. I'm going to say it's Seattle 30, 49ers 26. So there you go.
37-21.
Feel free, guys. I see some of you putting your score predictions in the chat. I see 34-27 Seattle. Guero Munguia says Niners 37, Seahawks 21. Obviously, we have a Niners infiltrator in the house here. 37-21. That's fine. That's fine. You get all entitled to your opinion, delusional as they may be. But you can have your
super chat.
What's that?
Exactly.
It's a good thing you don't drug test the super chat.
I don't need to. You can be as drugged up as you want in the super chat. Yeah. Drug away and type away super chat. The more the merrier. All right. So is there anything else? Any stones left unturned that we haven't covered for this matchup or any other issue before we go to the much awaited trivia contest. So the trivia contest is very pertainable to everything that's going on this week, by the way.
Who on the panel won the trivia last week? I forgot.
That was
I don't think it was me.
somebody who finally, long overdue, got one. Brian, congratulations!
Exactly. I had to pop off because I don't know when it's ever going to happen again.
That was well deserved, man. Well deserved. All right, so shall we do it? Shall we get into the trivia? You guys ready? All right, let's do this. Let me get the screen ready. Here we go. The scoreboard is standing by. We've got the Kahoot over here. All right, let's do this thing. So we're starting now. Get your Kahoot.com or your Kahoot app ready. And here's the number. To join, the number is 700-8294. 700-8294. Join the contest here and to see how smart your Seahawk and NorbCam wits are. 700-8294. I got Lamar Jackson, Go Pack Go, Rain City, the KC Sports Nerd, Diego, Andrew P, Seattle Ricky, Colby Canales, Seahawks, Bebo Seahawks, Mateo Estrada, Storm of Sports, Noah's, it's going so fast, can't read it. Noah's Analogy. Noah's Analogy. We call him Squabo from now on. He's now the man formerly known as Noah. We just call him Squabo. I'm trying to get that into my head.
I accept that title. I accept
Squabo.
it. I accept it.
Now you need to have some kind of squiggly symbol for your identity, so we can call you the man formerly known as Squabo. Holy cow, we got 69 people in here? I hope these aren't like a bunch of bots. 73? This is a record. I've never had this many people in this short a time. 74? I didn't know this was even capable of handling this many numbers. What's happening here? 78. Rush for MVP. GOAT. DK Boy. D Player of the Year. Let's go. Prez. Cristamo. 83. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. And it doesn't seem like there are bots in the house. Buda's a bum. Hey, now. Stephon Gilmore, Morgan. We'll give you 15 more seconds. Can we break 100? That would be amazing. We've never had more than, I think, 65 players. There's 88 in here. That is nuts. This is crazy. I didn't think that'd be people watching. The real NorbCam. Russ. DK Metcalf. Kahoot. Bam Bam Cam. Yeah, baby. All right, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 89 people. 2. Well, maybe I'll let it go. See if we get to 100. Let's get to 100. 90, 91, 92. When we get to 100, we'll stop. We're going to break the internet right here. Joyful Lark 19. Somebody's got a name that I really shouldn't say because if I say it, it sounds very inappropriate. It's not spelled badly, but it's all right. NorbCam Jr. Warner is greater than Wagner. Cardinals FTW. Dax ankle. Damn, come on now. Rex, Deadly, 94 people. Norb's balls. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. You better not be in the top 5 where I have to keep saying that all day. Brian is in there. 95 people. 96. The Niners stink. Can we get to 100? 97. Do I hear 98? 97 foot. 97. We don't 97 over here. Can I get 98? 97, 97, 97 over here. I get 98. Oh, we dropped to 95, 95, 95. Let's get to 100. 95, 95, 95. Can I get a 96, 96, 95 over here? 96. Going once. Going twice. 97 over here now. 97 over here. Come on, let's get to 100. Oh, 3 more over here. 100 over here. Do I hear 100? We got 97. Can we have 3 more? 98. Oh, back to 97. 98, 99, 100. We've got 100 in the Kahoot for the first time in history. Whoa, it's like still going. 104. This can't be right. Could this be right?
Sure it is. Yeah.
I've never had close to this. All right.
Yeah, but you got to realize that Steezy and Squabo are killing social media. They got a ton of folks that are getting the word out. You guys are doing
some stuff. All right. Let's go. There's 108 now. I'm trying to decide whether to keep letting it going. 108. I'm just fascinated watching this number climb. 110? 113? Are you... This can't be right. This doesn't seem right. This can't be like a bunch of bots infiltrating this thing, is it? All right, I'm going to cut it off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, NorbCam Trivia. Starting now. Question number 1. The last time Russell Wilson threw 3 interceptions was against which team? The The Green Bay Packers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the San Francisco 49ers, or the Los Angeles Rams? The last time Russell Wilson threw 3 interceptions was against which team? Packers, Jaguars, 49ers, or the Rams? 2 seconds. Time is up. Mixed answers on this. The correct answer, if you recall this game, the Jacksonville Jaguars, that kind of ugly game that ended ugly. Let's test the memory of the panel over here, starting with Steezy.
I completely dismissed the Jaguars game. I just went with the Niners.
Okay, you remember that game, guys, right? Do you guys remember the ugly game where we had I can't remember which player it was, went try to get after the fan in the stand, and Michael Bennett was diving at people's knees. It was just ugly game. Pass interference that wasn't called. Ugh, horrible. 2017, I believe. Ugh. All right, Squabo, how's memory serve you on this 3 interception performance?
Unfortunately, I wish I could forget about that game. But I actually remembered it because this is the game where it was going to be one of the greatest comebacks in Seahawks history. But they missed a call on where there was pass interference, defensive holding on 4th and 9.
Paul Richardson.
I believe it was against one of the Lockets, I believe.
I think it was Paul Richardson.
Paul Richardson.
He was tackled, literally tackled by the corner.
Yeah.
And they didn't call a flag, and it cost him the game.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I do remember that game, and I got it right.
All right. Yeah. Brian.
You almost had me here, Norb. I almost went with the Packers, but I think that was like a 4 or 5 interception game. So the key was 3, and yes, I got the Jaguars.
All right. So we got Squabo with 1, Brian with 1, and Steezy needing to get his first points. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard right here. Schmilligard in first place. It's always good to see Schmilligard. Deadly in second. Diego in third. Yes in fourth. And Major in fifth. And Norb's ball's nowhere to be seen. And in more ways than one. Schmilligard. The thing about Schmilligard, you gotta understand, Schmilligard always pops into the chart, can never finish. Never finishes. Never can get on that podium. But maybe today could be the day. Let's find out. Let's go to the next question. Number 2. How fast did DK Metcalf run to catch Buda Baker? 23 miles an hour, 22 miles an hour, 24 miles an hour, or 21 miles an hour? How fast was DK Metcalf on his horse to catch Buda Baker? 23, 22, 24, or 21 miles per hour? Again, 23, 22, 24, or 21. Time is up. Oh, yeah. Legend. Stuff of legend. 22 miles an hour. Screaming down that sideline. Looking like a cheetah. 79 of you guys on YouTube got that correct. How about the panel? Let's go to Steezy.
I got it right. I saw this graphic where it compared some of the top speeds of the NFL in the season. And I think DK's was like 22.67, something like that. So, yeah, just something that I saw.
That's pretty impressive. Squabo.
What interview? It was 22.6. I remember watching this. But I just remember, when I found out how fast he was going, it just settled in. And just think about this for a second. DK Metcalf on that rundown was going fast enough to get ticketed in a school zone.
That's awesome.
That's good.
That's crazy.
That's how fast he was going.
That's good. I like that.
Damn.
I like that. All right, so that's 2 points for Squabo. Brian.
There have been 3 NFL players that have raced cheetahs. You've got Chris Johnson, Devin Hester, and Tyreek Hill. And I remembered it was 22 miles an hour because of a tweet from some former NFL player who I don't remember who it was, saying that DK Metcalf should be the next NFL player to race a cheetah.
Nice. All right, so Brian got that one as well. So we've got a 2-way tie between Squabo and Brian, and Steezy on the board with 1. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard, and thank you. Somebody just subscribed. I appreciate that. And here we go. Oh, Schmilligard drops to second. Deadly moves up to first. Rain City in third. DK Metcalf in fourth. And Major in fifth place. Next question. Number 3. When was the last time Seattle's defense was ranked last in terms of yardage? 2008, never, 1976, or 1995? When was the last time Seattle's defense was ranked last based on yardage? 2008, never, 1976, or 1995? Time is up. Oh my gosh, nobody got this correct. The correct answer, well, 7 of you got this correct. The correct answer is 1976. I had to go through the annals of Seahawks defensive records to see when were we ever ranked last. And I had to go to the very first inaugural season to find that out, back when there was only 28 teams in the NFL. So, wow, big change in the scoreboard coming. But let's go to Steezy.
I definitely wasn't one of those 7. I said never. I was just like, you know what? I don't think our defense has ever been this bad. So, yeah.
It's not something that's very often talked about, and for good reason, because we had to go, 44 years in the past? It's a long way back. Squabo.
I was like, it was one of the years before I was born, and I said 95.
All right. It's a tough one, I know. Brian, if anyone has a chance here, not because you're old or anything, but you are old.
Well, let me ask you guys, do you know who Ed Bradley, Mike Curtis, or Eddie McMillan are?
I know Eddie McMillan. I've met Eddie McMillan.
Okay, those were the Seahawks linebackers in 1976. So yeah, I am old, Norb. It's okay to say I relish that role, and yes, I got it correct.
Look at that! See, age has its perks. Not only do you get benefits, like discounts at the restaurants and theaters.
I'm not quite old enough to get benefits yet. Let's not push it, buddy.
Oh, but I bet you're starting to get that AARP in the mail, probably.
I've been notified.
Okay. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. I bet there's some changes. Something tells me Schmilligod's going to drop. Schmilligod, are you there? Oh, he's still there. But Rush for MVP moves to first. Deadly in second place. Schmilligod dropping one step at a time. He's in third place. Rain City in fourth. And DK Metcalf in fifth place. Next question. These are good ones. I gave this some thought. Here we go. Number 4. What is the Seahawks record versus the 49ers all time? 19-24, 30-13, 26-17, or 22-21? Seahawks record versus the Niners all time. 19-24, 30-13, 26-17, or 22-21? Time is up. Ooh, YouTube got this one. It was 26-17 in favor of Seattle. We hold the edge there. Let's go to Squeezy Steezy. What you got, man?
Squeezy Steezy. I said 22-21. I just think that, we've had so many close fights, in the last couple of years, but I just think that in the 80s, the 49ers kind of dominated us just because they had, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice and all that. But so all in all, what I'm trying to say is I think it's pretty even. So that's why I went with 22-21.
I probably, if I didn't know myself, I probably would have gone that way. But then again, back in those days when the Niners were really great, we didn't play them much because we were in the AFC West. So we were not in the same division.
I forgot about that.
All right. So let's go to Squabo.
Oops.
Man, I feel like that one clip where it's like you played yourself. Essentially, last week I looked up I was anticipating this question on the Cardinals trivia, so I looked up the record against the Cardinals, and then you didn't ask it. So this week I didn't look it up, and you asked the question. So I kind of played myself, but I said 22-21 like Calvin and got it.
That's the safe one. The 22-21, by the way, is the trap. That is the trap answer because it just seems safe, and you guys fell for it. The youngins, fell for the trap. Let's see if the Yoda up in the top of the screen knows the answer. Brian, what you got?
This one, unfortunately, I missed. I thought it was 19-24 because I remember as a kid that, before Joe Montana, when Gene Washington was the quarterback, that the Seahawks religiously got beat by the 49ers. The problem is I couldn't remember if those were preseason or regular season games.
We played a lot of preseason games.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I missed it.
All right, so no change there. So basically, it stands at 3-2-1. Brian, Squabo, and Steezy. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Oh, look at that. Schmelicott drops again, but he's still in there. Raid City in first. Fire Ken Norton in second. Rex in effect in third. Schmelicott in fourth place. And Kittle owns Bobby in fifth. I think we got a few 49ers in the house, wouldn't you say? Let's go to the next question. I love the names, though. So freaking creative. All right. How many times have the Seahawks played the 49ers in the playoffs? 2, 1, 3, or 4? How many times have the Seahawks played the 49ers in the playoffs? 2, 1, 3, or 4? 3 seconds. Time is up. Again, mixed answers on this. 19 of the YouTube crowd got this correct. The correct answer, to my surprise, is only once. And that was the NFC Championship game. I couldn't believe it. It feels like we played each other so much, but we only had the one playoff game, which was a shocker to me as well. So let's see how shocked you guys are. Steezy looks like he's shocked. Steezy.
Shocked I am. That was the only game that I was able to think of, but I was like, there has to be some other games. So I was just like 2.
Yeah. Wrong answer. But I would have probably thought that too. Squabo.
I said 1. Obviously, we all know the one game, but I was just thinking Norb, honestly, as soon as you told me, you made this entire thing, I was like, this is a chess match. He's putting A and B as the answer multiple times.
Here we go.
And so I just went with the what I know, and I just know of one game.
All right, so Squabo gets a point there, ties up with Brian, but Brian could take the lead with the correct answer here. Brian, as the old geezer, the gray fox, what you got, man? Do you know the Seahawks 49ers playoff history?
Yeah, well, having covered the Seahawks since end of 99, mostly 2000 on, I pretty much covered all the playoff games, and I got this one right. And just for a side note, I think if you would have asked if this was the Green Bay Packers, that probably is the team that we've played the most in the playoffs. I'm not positive, but that would be my guess on that one.
All right, so you take the lead with 4, Squabo in second with 3, and Steezy trying to get out of the basement like the 49ers with 1 point. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Schmelicott, come on, Schmelicott. Oh, Schmelicott moves back up to second. He's hanging in there. He's going to take the reverse psychology route and prove me wrong. But Dre Greenlaw is in first place. Schmelicott in second, right behind him. Major in third. And Decaf Metcalf moves into the top 5 at number 4. And Silver Camel 25 right behind him in 5th place. Whew, we've got ourselves a race, everybody. Next question. This might have been spoiled. Nope. Which of these teams have the Seahawks not faced in the playoffs? The Cincinnati Bengals, the St. Louis Rams, Kansas City Chiefs, or the Houston Oilers? Which of these teams have the Seahawks not faced in the playoffs? Bengals, Rams, Chiefs, or Oilers? It's 3 seconds. Time is up. Oh, fooled YouTube again. Only 14 of you guys got this correct. The right answer of who we had not played in the postseason, the current reigning Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go to our panel. I'm throwing out some goodies, aren't I? Steezy, what you got?
Well, I kind of just, it was a shot in the dark. I said Chiefs. And then
you had no idea. So. You just guessed. This is a total guess.
Yeah, I just guessed.
Hey, man, guessed. better be lucky than good. Good job on that one, man. Squabo, Mr. Chess Master Analysis Dude.
Don't do me like that, man. Don't do me. But for this one, I knew we played the Oilers. I was pretty sure we played the Bengals. It was between Kansas City and St. Louis, and I'm like, you know what? Norb is a sneaky little guy right here, like a sneaky little trivia maker. And so I said St. Louis Rams because they're in our division, and you would never think it. So I said,
you don't remember that game in 2004 where Matt Hasselbeck had a chance to win it, threw the ball in the end zone. I believe it was intended for Bobby Ingram, and it just fell short, dropped off his hands. Remember that, Brian? You remember that game?
Yeah, that's. Oh, that was brutal. That was
I remember
brutal,
the face of the agony on his face when it didn't happen. He was like, ah! But then the next year, they did get to the Super Bowl. But, Brian, I expect some good things here because you are the master of everything after 1999 and then some. Brian?
For sure. For sure. Fortunately for me, we played the Oilers and the Bengals in the playoffs my freshman and sophomore year in college, so I certainly remember that. Don't ever remember playing the Chiefs. Couldn't think of a time where we would have, so that was definitely my answer.
I think the Oilers and the Bengals were wild card losses, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
All right. So that's 5 for Brian. He's going for a repeat here. Too early to say, but he's got 5 points.
Come on. Now you jinxed me. Now I got to knock on wood.
5 points. I'll knock for you, too, because, I got you back, man. 5 for Brian, 3 for Squabo, 2 for Steezy. Tight race. Anything can happen. Let's go to the scoreboard. Let's see. I'm into Schmilligod here. I'm going to see if Schmilligod can hang in there. Come on, Schmilligod. No! Schmilligod drops to 4th, but Silver Camel 25 to 1st. Yes, in 2nd. Dre Greenlaw in 3rd. Schmilligod in 4th. Andrew P. jumps into the top 5 at number 5. Next question. This is good. This is good stuff. All right, number 7. Past halfway point. Double points. Wait, I don't think I meant to do that. Who was the Seahawks sack leader last season? Jaren Reed, Jadeveon Clowney, Rasheem Green, or Michael Kendricks? Who was the Seahawks sack leader last season? Jaren Reed, Jadeveon Clowney, Rasheem Green, or Michael Kendricks? Sack leader last season: Reed, Clowney, Green, or Kendricks? Oh, yeah, this is kind of an easy one. I don't know why I put double points on here. I think that was a mistake. I think I messed up, but I'm giving you extra. Whoever got it right, you got double. So congratulations. I got to apply the same rule here. So I'm going to have to give double to our panel as well. So 34 of you guys got that correct. Yes, it's Rasheem Green, who we're so desperately hoping will come off the bench from IR with that neck stinger. He's supposed to practice this week and hopefully be available, not for the 49er game, but the game after that. So I'm hoping he can come back and start adding to that pressure package that we've been talking about. So to the panel, Steezy, double points here.
Yes, sir. With an eye-popping 4 sacks, it was Rasheem Green that led us in the sacks last
All right,
season.
So that temporarily puts you in 2nd place with Squabo 1 point behind, but I have a feeling Squabo might change that real fast. Squabo?
That's common knowledge. I got it right.
All right. I had to put some easy ones with all these hard ones I've been throwing at you. Brian?
First of all, I'd like to say I'm really disappointed that the panel scoreboard isn't as fancy as the other scoreboard. Our names don't go up and down. I'd really like to be sitting at the top of the scoreboard. Yes, I got this right. If you didn't know Rasheem Green was the leading sacker, after all the conversations that have been had about the pass rush, you probably should pull up stakes and go home.
Well stated. Yeah, I do have to I got to up my game on this scoreboard. This is just like manual style, but I'm working on it one thing at a time. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Let's see how fancy this thing can move. And again, Schmilligod is my horse in this race. Come on, Schmilligod. Yes! Schmilligod moves back up to 3rd. So Silver Camel holds it 1st. Drake Greenlaw slides to 2nd. Schmilligod slides to 3rd. Decaf Metcalf slides up to 4th. And Range City back in there at 5th. And this is a tight race. We've got only a difference of, we got 48-64 points at the top and 4,100 at the bottom. That's one of the narrowest margins I've seen. Usually there's somebody with like twice as many points as the bottom. And here it's less than 1,000. That is pretty impressive. Pretty smart people on this chat. So let's go to the next question. We're closing in on the final stretch. We're into the turn. Here we go. Question number 8. The current Seahawks sack leader has how many? 3, 1, 2.5, or 2? The current Seahawks sack leader has how many sacks? 3, 1, 2.5, or 2? 3, 1, 2.5, or 2? Time is up. Had to give you some more easy ones to make up for those toughies, the historic ones. Yep, 35 of you guys got that right. 2. We've been talking about pass rush. I expected that you guys would get this one, and I expect the panel no differently, but prove me right. Steezy.
As a team, we have 9, which is tied for the Patriots at 26, and Jamal Adams has 2, and Benson Mayo each have 2.
Very good, sir.
Those are our team leaders in sacks.
Oops, that's not double points. That's just 1. All right, so currently tied with Squabo, but Squabo?
We know these.
Okay. Brian, do I even need to ask?
No, but I actually forgot Benson Mayoa had two. I was just thinking about our safety and hopefully getting him back so we can get one more to that tally. But yeah, of course we got this.
I was reading after he had that leverage play. People were saying we should bench him to punish him. I was like, dude, you're gonna bench one of our only sack guys? Are you kidding me? It's just one of those things. You got a little bit too aggressive.
He could punch me in the face in the middle of the street, and I wouldn't report it for fear that he'd get benched. That's how badly I want that guy back.
Wow, that's pretty extreme. But thanks for taking him over to the team, Brian. If it does happen, I hope somebody catches it on tape. Okay, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Come on, Shmilligod. Yes, Shmilligod is back to second place. Silver Camel 25 holding it strong, getting a sizable lead at 57-19. Shmilligod with 49-60. Then Dre Greenlaw in third. Rex in effect in fourth. And Remember the Time. Haven't seen that guy in a while. It slides back up in there at number 5. Here we go. Number 9. What is the season high sack number for Carlos Dunlap? 11, 9.5, 8, or 13.5? What is the the season high sack number for Carlos Dunlap? 11, 9.5, 8, or 13.5? Most sacks in the season for Dunlap. 11, 9.5, 8, or 13.5? Time's up. Oh, yes. People have been watching the news. YouTube got this right. 13.5. 34 of you guys got that one correct. Let's go to the panel. Steezy.
I got it right. As soon as we acquired him, started looking up everything Carlos Dunlap from film to statistics and everything. So, got that one.
As I would have expected to. All right, so Steezy with 6, but Squabo tied for the moment. But I have a feeling that will change. Squabo?
No, man. I need harder questions to make this comeback, man. I need it. You like some?
Hey, we've got double questions coming up. Believe me, it's not going to be a bunch of softball tosses the rest of the way. I just wanted to even it out. But okay, you got this, 7. Yeah. Brian?
One of his 2 Pro Bowl years. Yes, sir.
All right, so we've got Brian with 9, Squabo with 7, Steezy with 6. Staying steady as we get to the home stretch. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Come on, Shmilligod. Come on, Shmilligod. Okay, Shmilligod holding it at second. Silver Camel, though, holding it up there at the top. Dre Greenlaw as well in third. Deadly moves into fourth. And the 10 points behind him is Homer's Balls at fifth. At least it wasn't mine. Okay, now we get to the good stuff. This is where we separate the cream from the crop, the boys from the men. Here we go. Question number 10 with double points, double jeopardy. Which team have the Seahawks played the most in the postseason? And this was spoiled earlier. Carolina Panthers, Miami Dolphins, Green Bay Packers, or the Washington Redskins? Let's see if you were paying attention. Which team have they played the most? Seahawks played the most in the postseason? Panthers, Dolphins, Packers, or Redskins? Which team most times played in this postseason? Let's find out right now. Oh, Brian, you just gave it away. You said that. I was like, oh, dude.
I'm sorry, man.
Dude, I needed to give you a copy of the script in advance, apparently. 81 of you guys, you were listening, obviously, or else it was just an easy answer because we have seen to face the Packers many times. And more often than not, the result has not been in our favor. However, the one game that we did get was the greatest game of all time. Let's go to the scoreboard. I don't know. This is going to probably change much. Not going to help you. It is worth double. Steezy. It's easy.
Yeah, I got this one. I didn't even need Brian's assistance. I kind of just,
Yeah. All right, Squabo. Too easy?
I also believe you've asked this question in previous trivias.
I probably have.
Got it right.
All right. Brian, a chance to get into double digits.
Can we get DJ Squabo, a question about like Drake or Dua Lipa that I might not know so that he can make a run here?
The next two, well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure how hard or easy they'll be, but they start getting to NorbCam territory, so it could separate some things here. All right, let's go to scoreboard. Come on, Shmilligod. Come on, Shmilligod. Ooh, Shmilligod hanging in there. Silver Camel 25 hanging in at first. Shmilligod in second. Dre Greenlaw in third. Tyler Greaves moves into the top 5 at number 4. And Deadly hanging in at number 5 with 2 questions to go. Here we go. Question number 11. Worth double. What is the prediction music video song I used for this week versus the Niners? The Eye of the Tiger, Take on Me, Danger Zone, or Billie Jean? Which prediction music video song did I use for this week? Playing right now. Eye of the Tiger, Take on Me, Danger Zone, or Billie Jean? 3 seconds. If you're on social media, you know this. Oh my gosh.
What the heck, guys? I'm very disappointed.
Come on, YouTube. You guys are supposed to know this stuff. Man, I put this thing out on Instagram, on TikTok. Oh, I'm kind of disappointed in my audience, man. Okay, 33, you guys got this correct. Let's go to the panel. Steezy for double, to get into double digits.
Believe it or not, I actually got it right. I've seen all those. I feel like I've heard all those songs on your channel before, so I kind of just went with the song that I've never heard before. I mean, obviously I can't hear anything, but I was just like, I don't think he's used Billie Jean before. So, being that it's one of my favorite songs, it's a classic. I went with that.
Okay.
49ers Super Bowl hangover.
Okay, you gotta check it out. If you haven't heard it, you gotta go check out check out my prediction video. All right, so let's go to Squabo.
Now I know what to study for next week, but absolutely no recollection.
Oh no! Squabo missed it. Oh, and I thought you knew my stuff, man. If Martin was here, he'd have at least 2 points. Yes, it was Billie Jean. Okay, well, Brian, I don't know. Brian's not, it's funny, the timing, the irony, the coincidence of it all. You just said, yeah, you should put a question about Dua Lipa. Now, it wasn't exactly that, but it was a music-based question, so it was almost on cue. Brian, did it mess you up, or did you get this by some chance?
It's like I'm almost in your house watching you, and you don't even know it, Norb.
I know, man. I'm kind of looking around. What kind of bugs are in this place?
No, so here's the deal. I feel guilty saying this, but I have not seen the video yet. However, you sang about 5 questions ago, Michael Jackson, Remember the Time. So I just guessed Billie Jean, figuring you were on some Michael Jackson stuff.
Wow, nice logic. You guys didn't know the answer, but you applied your own logic? I didn't even subconsciously think about trying to apply that one. I totally forgot about that Remember the Time thing, but that was a good pickup. But to be fair, every one of these songs have been applied to a 49er team. So last year, during my Rivals video, I did the Eye of the Tiger. And then at the end of the prediction video, I did Take on Me. And then Danger Zone was the sequel to the Eye of the Tiger, where I was in a Top Gun jet fighting Chrysostomo in a Top Gun F-16, F-14 against a MiG-28 or whatever. So if you guys haven't seen that, shameless plug. Go check out my Rivals videos. Okay. All right, so that puts it at Brian. I guess you've got an insurmountable lead here at 13 points. No matter what happens, you have been guaranteed the division. You get back-to-back wins, Brian. Unbelievable.
Well,
no matter what happens.
I've been right about something in the last couple weeks. That makes me feel better.
You're on fire, man. But I think it did help that I asked all those old man questions that you could play into.
Thanks, Norb. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go to YouTube. Let's see, with one question to go. Come on, Shmilly God. Oh, no! Shmilly God drops! Shmilly God did it again! Oh, Shmilly God! Shmilly God! Why? You let me down, man. I think I jinxed him because I said, Shmilly God can't finish. And sure enough, in the fourth quarter, at the 2-minute warning, he throws an interception. Something Russell will not do at this next game. And instead, Greenlaw gets the first place. The Greenlaw intercepts Schmilligod at in the 2-minute warning. Goodness gracious. Deadly at second. Silver Camel 25 in third. Cameron Hughes, hey, welcome back, in fourth. And Noah's Analogy in the top 5. Let's go. One final question. I don't know what that means, but I want to break it down, and I'd love to know the meaning behind it. Here we go. Final question. It's going to decide someone's fate in the YouTube side. Here we go. Last question. Double points. What record number of viewers joined my Seahawks Cardinals live stream on Sunday night? 1,500 plus, 3,300 plus, 2,900 plus, or 2,400 plus? How many viewers were on my Seahawks live stream which set a record? 1,500, 3,300, 2,900, or 2,400? Oh, you too, back on point. Thank you very much for being there. I knew I could count on you to finish strong. Yes, it was a record 3,300 viewers when we got into that overtime final part of the game against the Cardinals. I've never had that happen. I think the most I ever had was 2,500. Never had over 3,000 viewers, and people were obviously on pins and needles waiting for the end of that game. So thank you for those of you guys who are watching right now. Appreciate you guys being there. It was crazy. I wish it could have been a win, and then we could celebrate that with all those people. But 3,200 in a loss, but it was a monumental moment for me, so I appreciate you guys. So, Steezy, this is for second place.
Well, second place it is then, because I remember after the game, I was in my feelings. I was really sad, so I went on YouTube, and while I wasn't there during the live stream, I saw your live stream video, and it was already at 12K as soon as it ended. And so I was like, damn, 12K, and the game just ended. So I looked at all the options, and I was like, it had to have been the highest number. And so I looked at 3,300, and I was like, that's the one.
All right. So, well, that you are etched in second, because no matter what Squabo does, he can't get a 3-point play. This is not basketball. So at least just for pride, can you say you got the right answer here, Squabs?
Yeah.
The most unceremonious yeah I've ever heard from the Squabs. All right, well, in a very conveniently, nicely ordered way, we have Brian with 13, Steezy with 12, and Squabo with 11. A 1-point separation from all the players here, but you guys did amazingly well. All in double digits, so that was impressive.
You didn't ask me if I got it right. I could separate this
that's
sucker
right.
even
I haven't
more.
forgot to ask you. I was so busy thinking that you won.
I'm trying to step on some throats here. I'm not just trying to win.
Well, and you wouldn't bring it up if you didn't get the right answer. So what is your answer, Brian?
Right.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I actually guessed, because I figured anything less than 3,300 is just chump change for a man of your stature on YouTube. So of course I guessed the highest
look
number.
at that. Okay, well, I stand corrected. 15. That might be a high. You might have one of the highest scores ever in this trivia. I don't actually have any proof of that, but I don't remember anyone getting. Do you guys remember anyone getting to 15? I don't think we ever got to 15. That's high, man. 15, 12, and 11. Congratulations, Brian. Back-to-back wins. Hopefully that means the antithesis of that will happen this week, because I don't want you to have a streak that matches what the Seahawks do. So, knock on wood, all that kind of stuff. It has no connection.
Had I thought about that, had you brought that up earlier, since I won last week and the Seahawks lost, I promise you I wouldn't have won this week. Just thinking about that superstitiously.
So if we lose, it's all Brian's fault. Just everybody, for the record.
It always is, so it's cool.
All right, let's go to YouTube. Let's find out. Could Schmilligan find a way back in here? I don't know. If he dropped out of the top 5, I kind of find it unlikely. But let's see who wins this week's trivia. In third place, with 88.69, Schmilligan! Oh, he's on the podium. Schmilligan on the podium. In second, Cameron Hughes in second. So who's in first place? Is it the silver guy with 10,000? No, it's Dre Greenlaw! Wait a minute, is that a 49er fan? Ugh. Deadly Skills is silver. Whatchamacallit is the runners-up. So Dre Greenlaw, I hate to say it, just makes my tongue burn and my body shiver. Dre Greenlaw, first place, 9 out of 12 questions correct, and 10,311 points. Congratulations, Dre Greenlaw. You've earned a spot. Just contact me, email me at norb@norbcam.com. Right there is my email. Send me a screenshot of your winning image there, and we'll hook you up. So congratulations, Dre Greenlaw. All right. Well, that was fun. That was a fun trivia.
Yeah,
it was fun. And anytime I could put Squabo at the bottom means I'm doing something right. No, I'm really not trying. Of course, I don't think about trying to trip you up. I do think about the numbers game, though, because every time it's like, okay, is it going to be A, B, or C, or D? I have Squabo over my shoulder looking, going, what's Norb going to do? Is he going to put it in everything? If you, when in doubt, put C? Nobody puts the A or the D? So I'm constantly thinking about that, man. It's a whole nother mental game. But apparently, I'm winning it because you're not getting to the top of the charts here the last couple times, my friend. So anyway, so I hope your test taking skills, though, are working out better at Wazoo than they are in the late rounds of the trivia.
When I came to Wazoo, I just my camera is in your room, just lost connection, so I don't have the answers anymore.
How are things?
They're still in there. I just can't reach them.
How are things in school, man? Are you doing all right with your classes and your workload?
Yeah, no, lots of stuff to stay busy, but I'm enjoying it every step of the way.
All right, very good, sir. All right, well, that is it, you guys. Thanks very much for everybody being here, but I got to thank and give my guests always that opportunity to talk about their channels and where they can find them. So let's go to the panel. Let's start with Steezy. Go ahead and promote your stuff, man.
If you guys haven't already, be sure to smash that like button on this video. Show all the panelists on you some love. At Norb, he's trying to hit 50K, as he said earlier. We'll help him get to 50K. My brother Noah, trying to get to 500. Help him get to 500. And for me, I'm trying to get to 1,000. Please help me get to 1,000.
Yes.
You can find everybody's links in the description. You can find me at Steezy A. Smith, SteezySaimth on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I got a video coming out tomorrow, actually, the first episode of my fantasy football segment titled Steezy Sleepers. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. All you fantasy footballers out there. And then, obviously, this coming Friday, I'm dropping my 3 keys to victory against the Niners. So got some videos coming up for y'all. If you guys don't want to miss it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And Norb, as always, thanks for having us on. Love talking Seahawks football with you guys, and I wouldn't trade this time period in the world for anything. So
appreciate that, man. And by the way, check out his fantasy video. It's worth it because he just kicked my butt this past week. We were head to head in fantasy, and I had a lead on you early, and I was thinking, "Ooh, look at this! I'm like 30-something points on you." But then again, did you have Russ as your QB?
I had Russ.
You had Russ. And I had DK. Tyreek. I was like, come on, DK. If you could tear it up, I might be able to go toe-to-toe. Of course, what happens? DK does nothing. And then Russell, despite the points of the interceptions, you still got lots of points because of all the great stuff he did. So anyway, so yeah, go check out Steezy's videos, his new one, and all his social stuff as well. And links in the description below in the description. As I just said that. Okay, Squabo, the man formerly known as Noah, now known as Squabo. Tell it, man. What you got? What you got cooking this week?
Yo, I'm about to post a video as to why the Seattle Seahawks should not panic after the loss at Arizona and why it could actually be a good thing for Seattle. Coming up shortly. Check it out on my channel at DJ SQUABO. All
right. And I just posted a video, should Seahawk fans be panicking? And I kind of thought, I think I'm sounding like I am panicking, so we need to get the other side of it from your video, so I got to check that one out. Alina Dahl in the super chat says, no playing Madden before the game, Norb, LOL. In case you guys don't know, I started my first, I've been saying I'm going to do it this year, and I finally started doing it. I did the Vikings game and kicked their butts, but I was playing in rookie mode where everything's super easy. So I stepped it up one notch. I started playing at the pro level. I think it's pro. Isn't that the next level up?
Yeah.
Pro? So it's a little harder, and I lost to the Cardinals like, I don't know, 27-14 or something like that. And I thought, this has no bearing on the game. This is clearly not going to have any reflection. And it really wasn't, because it was obviously not anywhere near the way the complexion of the game went, but still was not a good omen. So
pro Norb, come on, bro.
It's only my second game. I mean, I played half a game with you on practice, and you kicked my butt playing as Arizona. But come on, dude, I'm just getting started. I am a rookie. I mean, I should be playing in rookie mode because I'm a rookie. I just started, so give me a break. Jeez. All right. So I might do it anyway. But we'll see. All right. So Brian, I know you don't have the YouTube, but you do have your Twitter. Go tell the audience about it.
Yeah, and people can feel free to follow me at Abker, A-B-K-E-R, but don't bring any weak-ass comments because you'll get crushed. But I'll be more than happy to hear your opinions and have conversations with you. Just don't get stupid with it. But the guys that you really want to follow, obviously, Norb, one of the most talented people that I know in life. You've got Steezy A. Smith, who's got a studio set up that's as professional as any studio that I ever worked in when I was in a terrestrial radio. And you've got DJ Squabo, who's a big damn deal at the Edward R. Murrow School of Communications, is building something special. So follow those guys, buy their merch. They can use your support.
All right. Thanks, Brian. And don't you have a comment? Because you're wearing another Seahawks beanie, and you had a beanie last week, and you got some flack for it, talking about weak-ass comments. You want to address that in case that person is still watching?
Well, here's the deal. I figure that this is your YouTube channel, Norb, and these are your people, and I don't want to do anything to wreck that for you because I was about ready to ruin somebody on there. But no, I'm good. We're all good, Norb. It's all cool.
Okay, I just think you look good there, man.
Appreciate it.
You look awfully Bronco-like on the
But
bottom half.
I will say that the beard is going away in November. It will just be the mustache for Movember and prostate cancer awareness month, and then after that, it's all going away, and the hair's getting cut. So I'm going to be looking as sharp as the young bucks.
Wow. Okay. I can't wait to see that, man. It's going to be quite the transformation. So we get to see the before and after. So that's going to be when? In December or late November?
As soon as I get out of prison, I'm going to shave it all.
Wow. They're very generous to let you use the Wi-Fi and a camera over there. That's pretty cool. They're very nice hookup over there. It's a good Wi-Fi connection at the prison. All right. So thank you guys. So again, check out all their stuff, their social media. The links are in the description. But most of all, thank you to all of you, the viewers, because without you, none of this means anything. So for everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, I appreciate you guys' support. Anybody who just chatted to be part of the conversation as well. But just any of you guys who just were here just to see what this was all about. Love it, and hope you'll drop a like, subscribe, and all that stuff for all the channels here. But of course, for yours truly, would greatly appreciate it. All right, I got more videos coming up. I'm doing a collab with a Cincinnati Bengals YouTuber to talk about the behind the scenes of what happened and make this trade happen for Seattle for Carlos Dunlap. I'm also going to do a collab with a 49ers fan from the Fan to Fan Network. So we're going to get into that later this week. I'm going to try to get a fan panel. I've been trying to get that together with some of the guys who have previously won trivia contest. We haven't had a chance to get them on. I'm going to try to do that on Friday, so hopefully we can make that happen and get some fan input. And then, of course, Sunday for the game, we'll be live streaming again with my dad Sunday afternoon, so I hope you guys will join us there. And let's get that number over 3,000. Let's go to 35 or 4,000 this time. It'll be fun. I hope it's a good game, and hopefully we get a win on Sunday. So that's it. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a great rest of your week, and go Hawks, baby.